Thank you, Tony Naddaf, Al Hurra TV. You just mentioned that UNRWA has a very major and important role, and you also described a very broad picture about the humanitarian delivery at this moment in Gaza. How do you think that this picture is going to change once the Israeli law banning UNRWA activities will go into effect? Thank you.
Shukran, Tony. Again, I must start with a story which had to do with the women I spoke with. And I've asked the same women group that I was referring to earlier. I said, what does the UN mean to you? And they all said, Al-Wakale, the agency, UNRWA. People of Gaza know UNRWA. They trust UNRWA. It's a long relation between the Palestinians and UNRWA. And I'm sure you know what Wakale means in Arabic. UNRWA, and I will quote the Secretary General here, is the backbone of the UN operations, and we need them. And UNRWA must stay and must continue doing the work. It's not easy to replace UNRWA. And we're hoping that they will continue one way or the other operating. We're talking about education, we're talking about health, we're talking about logistics support. UNRWA employs 13,000 people in Gaza, by the way. UNRWA is the second employer in Gaza after the Palestinian Authority. So you can imagine the critical role of UNRWA. Thank you.
Hi, this is Shudoju with China Central Television. Actually, Tony just asked my question. So you were in Gaza, and from your perspective view, how much of a role UNRWA has been participated in the past few days in the ceasefire humanitarian delivery? And also, all of the UN officials said that there's no replacement of UNRWA, but the fact that the two bills, they're going to be enforced after January. Then what are we going to do with that fact? Thank you.
Thanks. Just want to let you know that a good percentage of our stock in regional countries in Egypt, in Jordan, are UNRWA stocks. So a good part of the humanitarian aid that entered today and yesterday and the day before, there were UNRWA stocks, and we'll still be using UNRWA stocks. What is going to happen after 30th January exactly, I do not know. We're still in discussion with the government of Israel and others. But there is one thing we know for sure. We will do whatever it needs to make sure that we continue supporting the Palestinians in Gaza, West Bank, and East Jerusalem. I said it before, but I repeat it. You know, when you're in the business of saving lives, failure is not an option. So we don't quit. It's not part of our DNA, and we will continue our mission and our mandate. Thank you.
Abdul Hamid online.
Thank you, Hadi. It's a pleasure to see you again, and I have a few questions. I want to ask you if you happen to visit any of the hospitals or any of the clinics that had been destroyed, and if you can also talk about the 650,000 children who are supposed to go to school and if anything being done. But my other question, Mr. Hadi, you know there was a campaign to dehumanize the Palestinians. I'm talking about gangs and thieves and robberies during the war was very common to hear that. You gave a report to the Security Council on 25th of November, and you mentioned the disappearance of 98 trucks, which was in reference to the lawlessness in Gaza. And I asked the same question to your colleague, Georgios Petropoulos, and he said the trucks were taken from an area where Israel was in control. Now, as you can see, when the war stopped, there was no theft, There was no attack. There is law and order. And the Palestinian people are a civilized people, as you know. And there is no gangsters now, and everyone is doing their job and going back to their lives. So how do you address that issue, which I wrote to you about it, and I didn't receive an answer? Thank you very much.
Thanks. Let me start with the hospitals. I visited lots of hospitals and lots of clinics during my previous visits to Gaza. I went to Al-Shifa, Al-Aqsa Hospital, and many others. And I have to tell you, what I saw there is just one sad story after the other. I can spend hours telling you stories, individual stories that I heard from people. A lot of them are heartbreaking, and people told me their agony and their stories in painful details. But also what I saw is the lack of ability to provide medical services to the patients. I went to the dialysis department, where they told me that they're only giving 25% of people's needs. I went to the emergency rooms. I've seen a lot. I have to tell you what I have seen there. I have never seen in my entire career in the United Nations, and I have been working for the United Nations for a very long time. So that's on the hospitals, but we're hoping now things will change as we will hopefully be able to bring more aid, medical supplies for the hospitals. On education. Education is important. Unfortunately, the children, they have lost a full year of education, and they're losing more every day. We need to make sure that education starts. Yes, education did start at small scale here and there in certain parts of Gaza. Others who have ability, their children are studying online, but it's not at the level it should be. So, rest assured, UNICEF and other agencies, especially UNRWA, who provides education for 650,000 people, are highly concerned. I am not somebody who works in the United Nations as the humanitarian and resident coordinator, are extremely concerned about education, and it's always on top of our priority list. You talked about the lawlessness and the law and loss of law and order. This is what you expect in any war situation. This is not just specifically about Gaza. I again witnessed that in many places around the world. Gaza is not the only place where law and order disappear in a war, and this is not an easy war. This is a very difficult, challenging war for the people. And again, the good side about it is now that we have ceasefire. We're hoping that there will be a restoration of law and order, not just because of our operations, because people need peace. You can't rebuild your life when you don't have security. When security is like oxygen. You only miss it if it disappears. And this is something that I saw today, a beginning of it, and I hope that it will continue. Thank you.